This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
I want to ask you about, you touched on a couple things like in that speech. I was talking about Ferguson, about the grand jury. You talked about that, and also about the two grand jury witnesses who have turned up dead in the last several weeks.
Yeah, well, let's back up and look at Ferguson from the beginning.
Okay.
All at once, we woke up. Had you ever heard of Ferguson before that?
Oh, no. No, sir.
Have you ever heard of a black 18-year-old named Michael Brown?
No, sir.
So we wake up one day, and something happened in the town we never heard of, right? To a person we never knew existed, right?
Right.
Now, he laid there on the ground for 4.5 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
When did you find out that day that this black man had been killed?
It was like around maybe 9 or 10 o'clock.
In the morning?
And at night, then Saturday evening.
Oh, no, I know. He was killed around noonish, huh?
Yes, sir.
So the longer I leave the body there, the more people will get to see it, right?
Yes, sir.
Could this be a strategy? Could this be a strategy? And then when you one turned on the TV, not one white press or TV drummed on the fact that he laid there 4.5. That was black press, huh? That was the black press. Go back and get your researchers to pull out the New York Times from August the 9th and see how long it was they mentioned it. Okay, now we see it. We see his sidekick. Told the whole world he had his hands up, right?
Right.
And that's a symbol that went all over the world, right? His hands up, right? And now the body's gone after 4.5 hours. And nobody know where it went to. You didn't see a red car come up, like a hospital car, a coroner.
Right.
A cop cannot pronounce you dead. We didn't see nobody come in there and pronounce him dead. 4.5 hours, he didn't even have a sheet on him, huh? So why am I breaking the norm? I want y'all to make sure this is a dead body here, a black body, huh? The cops, you know that one cop, the one that said this, was just walking around nervously, Then they get in, they say he took the test and said they couldn't record it because the batteries was down, huh? And then he don't have to say nothing. And then some old white person called up and said, this is my friend, this is what happened, and they run that all over the world? Now we wait for the grand jury, and while we waiting, we telling you who's running this, huh? Say, well, a black cop killed his daddy, right? See what they doing to me?
Right.
A black cop killed his daddy. This is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. Now, that little ignorant town ain't big enough to manipulate the whole world, so who's doing this, huh? Who's doing this? Now, in Ferguson, the first thing that burned down was Quick Trip, right?
Right.
Is that a clothing store, a filling station, and a convenience store? What is that?
That's a convenience store, a gas station, filling station, and a convenience store.
Okay, I asked you that for a reason. Don't know what Quick Trip is, right? Okay, so now, do you know that path, that area there,
right,
is not a big truck route? It's not a big tourist where they're going to truck buy gasoline, tourists buy gasoline, right? Do you know Quick Trip, the folks that own that, 2 months before Ferguson thing hit, 1.5 miles away from that, they built this brand new one. Did you know that?
I saw that one when I was down there. Yeah, I thought it was the one that got burnt. It was brand new. You're right.
No, so why? Now remember now, they didn't know it was going to be burned, so why would I build 1.5 miles away from the one I got unless I knew something was going to happen?
Yeah, that's something. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the whole time we were marching after this happened, it was like a festival. People was honking their horns and children waving, right?
Yes, sir.
24 hours a day. At nighttime is when there was acts of violence. Not in the daytime. So if we know that and they know that, why would they wait till 8 o'clock at night to release the grand jury report when they know nothing happens in the daytime? Seems strange, don't it?
Yes, sir.
Why would you bring the National Guard in for 50 people? Now, if you look back at the black liquor store that they was looting, right? If you look back at those pictures, you saw black folks running out there with a half pint. Hey, wait a minute, y'all didn't even get no chips? No salted peanuts? Is this staged or not? What is this about, right?
Right.
So now it just picked up all over the world. All over the world. Okay, now let's watch this now. So now they released grand jury in Ferguson, right? And said, we didn't find enough to convict him. So all hell broke loose that night.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Not the daytime. That night. They say people are throwing sitting cars on fire. There's gunshots, we heard. Do you know they have a system in one of the cities is here in Washington, D.C.? They got little electronic stuff on trees, on lampposts. That if you went in your house or got up on the roof or outside and shot a gun, in less than 5 minutes the police would be there. Why? Because them little things pinpoint exactly where that gun was shot. Okay, that's the electronic technology we got. So if they know gunshots have been fired, how come they don't use that technology there? So they know where it's coming from, huh? Now you hear everybody talking about the cameras.
Right.
Well, there have to be federal restrictions on the cameras. They have to be on 24 hours a day. You won't be able to turn it off while you fixing to go in here and get this little piece of whiskey or go into this whole house and turn a quick trick, huh? The first city that I knew had it was a little city in Illinois. So we go there and we look at how it works. And the people were so happy. Those can't be no why.
Why?
Police brutality against the cops decreased 85%. Yeah, he called me a nigger. Well, if you know it's being recorded, you can't say that if it didn't happen. See how it works? Both ways, except the police benefit more than us. And so now, let's go back. He comes out the little convenience store where they say he stole some cigars, right?
Right, Mike Brown, yes.
Who told the world that? Are you aware it's the police chief?
Yes.
You aware it's the police chief that released the film?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you aware that when he's in that store, he had on flip-flops and short pants?
Mm-hmm.
When he's laying there on the ground, he got on Nike tennis and long pants. Now, if you go look for it, that's been tampered with.
Okay.
Are you aware of that? Now, his friend is telling the cop how it went down, right?
Right.
He had his hands up when they shot him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kept saying, now, if a cop is going to go in and assassinate a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then why wouldn't they kill his best friend? Why you leave a witness alive?
Right.
That's what I'm saying to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this witness still alive? Then I find out that the third day, FBI put him under witness protection. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
Okay. Then I asked myself, why is he under federal protection? This is not a federal case, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What do he know?
Mm-hmm.
That they don't want nobody to know.
Mm-hmm.
So then, tonight, and you have to eventually, and I say you, I mean the people that are listening, you have to go back and Google tonight that the grand jury report was released, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And you find the guy before he say he was, they didn't find enough evidence, so there's no charges brought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I tell you this part here, remember the two white truck drivers?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That said they saw it all and he did have his hands up, remember?
Yes.
In the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, ain't that funny they didn't bring them into the grand jury?
Yeah, that's strange. That is strange. Yes, sir.
Ain't that strange? They didn't bring them in. Had they said he didn't have his hands up, huh? Now, let's watch it now. So before he told the world that there's no charge to be pressed, they said there was several African Americans, right?
Right.
That changed their story. They said he didn't have his hands up, right? Now that's why you have to go back, to read the whole book, but read that part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people that said he didn't have his hands up was his friend. That's under witness protection, right? He said he lied. Is that strange?
It is strange.
He said he lied. So that night, crazy stuff happened, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So now the guy who's in witness protection, what's his name?
Dorian Johnson.
Say it again so my grandmother can hear.
Dorian Johnson.
His best friend was killed that night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, DeAndre Johnson, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Andre, yeah. Now watch this now. He was killed a block from where Michael was killed, right?
Yes, sir.
Now they got hundreds of FBI agents in there. They got the National Guard, huh?
Yes, sir.
State police, county police. Who in their right mind would try to kill somebody in an area with that much cops unless there's somebody that's part of the whole scheme?
Yes, sir.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we got to do one day is pull all that up. There's hurt people listen to the show. We're going to pull it up. We'll pull it up and run it and let them see. They say he was beat, he was tortured. I read that in the Washington Post. And then how long was it before the other person was killed? It was 2 people.
Well, they found him, like, Sean Gray was found a couple of days after Thanksgiving. So he was missing for a couple of days. His family reported to the police.
After Thanksgiving, before the thing was, no, I think
the thing was released, it was released a couple days before Thanksgiving, the grand jury verdict.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know, 2 FBI agents were shot, right? They didn't get killed.
Okay.
Were you aware of that?
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, you need to Google that.
Mm-hmm.
And then ask yourself, how come we're not aware of all the news coming out of that? And then there was a woman, I think she was shot in the head. Are you aware of that?
The Howard student that was protesting back in August.
She didn't die.
No, she didn't die. No, sir.
But are you aware all the records about her shooting and all of that is missing?
Yes, sir. It's very strange indeed.
Now, let's walk through this real slow so my grandmother can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was what?
Let me look at it. I don't have it off the back. I'll find it.
Okay. And now, she was shot in the head. Was it once or twice?
I believe it was once.
Once, okay. They carried her to the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now when you try to back up and find up on the case, there's no information. Ferguson, that's feeding information all over the world. But on this, my grandmother didn't hear it. Okay? So now you stop and you look and you say, wait a minute, is something right or something wrong about this? I mean, they could clear up all of this if they would just find out. Well, you ain't supposed to turn on a show like this here and hear something that the New York Times didn't tell you, or the Washington Post, or the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Yes, sir.
Now, the Post-Dispatch used to be one of the better papers in the world. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
It was the Pulitzer family. That's where the Pulitzer Prize come from. His name.
Mm-hmm.
The Post-Dispatch now, a dog wouldn't read that old tray.
Also, Bob Gregory, with DarREn Wilson, like, you know, they said that at first he had a broken eye socket.
Yeah, well, you got to explain to my grandmother who DarREn Wilson is.
He was the officer that shot Michael Brown at Ferguson.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they say he had a broken eye socket. At first, that was the narrative. But you look at the photos that have been released, you see that he didn't have a broken eye socket. And one thing that the international media brought up about his background, because they know y'all always try to tar and feather our black victims, DarREn Wilson's mom was an identity thief who was murdered at the age of 35.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really talk about that at all either. When you go online, you'll find, you know, people talking about it online.
Okay, well, let's look at this. Yeah, let's look at this.
Mm-hmm.
That picture of him coming out that store where he's supposed to sell the cigarettes?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you aware the date at the bottom of that picture was June 6th?
That's what I know. It's a suspicious date, not the right date.
Huh?
Not the right date, you know.
Well, that's not that, because that might explain why he had one outfit on there and another one he's laying on the ground dead. And are you aware the guy who owns that store held a press conference and said he'd never been in my store that day? I've never called the police, and his lawyer said, matter of fact, y'all check the police log record and see if no call came. Wait a minute.
I remember that. Huh? Yes, sir.
The New York Times was all over the world, and nobody checked the log record. I mean, what is this about?